Hello friends and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Y'all, today we're not going to plant anything, we're not going to prune anything, we're not going to weed anything. You have been with me as I have planted and maintained the woodland garden, the annuals in front of the chicken coop, and then honestly the hill in front of the coop. It's pretty much maintained itself. So today we are going to take a garden tour of the three main beds here at the chicken coop so that I can share with you what is growing, blooming, and thriving, and how the garden is starting to carry its own weight. Heaven knows I have put a ton of blood, sweat, and yes, a few tears into these gardens. And they are finally starting to carry their own weight. Like I said, they are maintaining themselves and are absolutely gorgeous. Some of my favorite spaces are up here, so I can't wait to share how everything is progressing. Of course, there are some messes up here because I'm going to show those to you. I like to keep things real, right? So without further ado, we are first going to start here in the woodland garden. Y'all, this thing has been a labor of love for years. She's finally starting to thrive on her own. This woodland garden has proven itself to be a little bit challenging. Those first couple of years, my goodness, I was just putting in tons of effort trying to get things started, and we are finally at a point where plants are happy. Not only are they happy, but they are thriving and taking off. This is a dry woodland shade garden. None of this is on irrigation. If it gets water, it's going to be because either it rained or because I watered it. And so throughout the years developing this bed, I really wanted to create kind of that classic southern woodland garden. And it's all about choosing the right plants, patience, and then of course when you're planting, to set them up for success. You know probably that I am a huge fan of some cobalt blue pots, and so this spring that was the main addition that Mimi and I did in this garden because my mama is my #1 garden assistant. We had the most fun together. And when we were in here in the spring, we went ahead and added these cobalt blue pots. Because it is dry shade, I know that trying to put hostas in here is just going to be an absolute battle. So I put my hostas in the blue pots, and because they're able to just maintain better because they're not in competition with the roots from the trees. Of course, fill it up with beautiful potting soil. This is Island Breeze hosta. Is it not just absolutely stunning? That beautiful chartreuse center with that dark green edge is lovely. And then Mimi and I, we also did add the aspidistra because that aspidistra is a great dry shade evergreen perennial. So we have a couple of those in different sections dotted throughout here. Now, as we're going through the garden, there are some weeds in here, my friends. Weeds are constant. I don't care where you are. They are constant. And I do not use pre-emergent in the beds, especially in a bed that has a hydrangea. That did not end well for us one time. And so pre-emergents and hydrangeas, rather, typically do not go well together. So yeah, you see those little green weeds. I got to get in here and do a little bit of maintenance. But that's not for today. Look at Ruby Slippers. Is she not just about to pop in all of her glory? Ruby Slippers, of course, is that beautiful, more on the petite side of an oak leaf hydrangea. Oak leaves, of course, get their names because their leaves are that beautiful shape of an oak tree leaf, and then you get these creamy white flowers. They will age to a kind of a ruby mauve color, and then we love oak leaf hydrangeas because in the fall their foliage is absolutely a beautiful burgundy. It is, and it holds on for a long time. So this is the aspidistra, one of them back here, and you can just see how much of a lovely structure it gives to this space. And y'all, when I tell you that we have not been over here fussing over these plants, that is exactly what I'm telling you. Because this is dry shade, whenever you're adding plants to your garden, whether it's to the dry shade garden, the annuals in full sun, getting them established those first couple of weeks is the most critical. At least that is what I have found for my garden. So if I can get them, their roots starting to go out and search for water on their own in the first couple of weeks, even a month, depends on if it's really hot, it may take a month, right? Then once they start getting those roots out there, then that's where things ease off. And then I tell people the first year, keep them alive. Just keep the plants alive, whether it's a perennial or a shrub or a tree. And then past that, then that's when we're going to see all of that beautiful growth. A key point of that is my Invincibelle Sublime Hydrangeas. Oh my gosh, y'all. In just a couple of weeks, maybe week 2, I'm not really sure, they are going to be absolutely gorgeous with like green flowers. Who thought a green flowered hydrangea would be so beautiful? Well, they are. As we make our way over to those hydrangeas I want to share with you, if you know anything about me, I am a huge birder. I love supporting and encouraging songbirds in my garden, so I have feeders everywhere. And then this little fuzzy thing right here is a gift from my mama. She gave all the girls at the nursery one too. It is alpaca hair. And so what happens is the birds will come and pull it and use it for their nests. So alpaca hair evidently is great. She bought it off the Etsy. I don't know. I'm sure you could do like a search for it and you could find it. I have never seen a bird on it. Clearly they're using it until right before I came up here to film this video. And there was a bird, my goodness, she was going to town getting all that hair out. So I think I captured it on video, but it was just so cute. All right, here we go. These are the Invincibelle Sublimes. So beautiful, nice, dark green foliage with my hydrangeas. I fertilize them one time a year. So full disclosure, this year I ran out of rose tone, so I used holly tone. And look how dark the leaves are. Now these are color specific hydrangeas, okay? But just look at that foliage. So dark. And then because these are color specific, they are going to be that lime green. They really pop off of the plant. But at first I thought, why would anybody want a green hydrangea, like the flowers? And then I saw it in bloom and I fell madly in love with this plant. So these have been here for quite a few years. They finally have gotten where they are growing, blooming, and thriving. So love them very much. Quick little update. The High Five Green Fingers Fatsia that you were with me, it is doing very well. Very happy right there, as are the hydrangeas that we added in there. And so this is the thing about these shade gardens, my friends, is lean into it. You do not have to have tons of flowers in the dry shade garden. It is about color and texture and layering and adding in sweet little elements, whether it's like bird baths or bird feeders or statuaries. Just have fun. Add those colorful pots in there to give you that big pop of color. But everything here is doing so well. Could not be happier with how well it is doing. Of course, when Mimi and I were here in the spring and we were adding some perennials like Pollinator. Pollinator is thriving in here, by the way, perfect for dry shade. And so we did add a nice thick layer of compost and mulch, and it has made all the difference. Currently, we are still in a drought, but we got some really good rain about a week ago, and that's dramatically helped with the bed, and the plants are doing really well. I did give some spot watering today, but other than that, they're doing really well. One last thing before we move on to the front of the chicken coop. You were with me when I potted up these little mini hostas in the strawberry planter, and I planted the Aromanth Nemesia. This is that mulberry. You can tell the plant is telling me that this is not particularly happy. Why do I know that the Nemesia is not happy? Well, it is going to be in more shade than the Nemesia likes. Can you see how it is getting really leggy and kind of getting floppy? It's not because of lack of water. It is simply because it's not getting enough sun. So the great thing is, this was Mimi's idea, is that the Nemesia is not actually planted in the pot. it is a pot in the pot. So I can simply just take this pot out, this nursery pot. I'm thinking a caladium would be perfect right here. And then that way I can switch it out. While the woodland garden is calm and peaceful and serene, then we come to the front of the chicken coop where I embrace in every season just filling this space with annuals. I want pops of color. I want movement. I'm going to support my pollinators. And because this is a full sun garden, I can just load it up with colorful annuals that give me that interest that I am looking for all the way through the summer. And then having that beautiful white, oh my gosh, y'all, it pops from a distance and makes such an impact. Again, you were with me when I planted this landscape. This is the Petunia Vista Snowdrift, a very nice, vigorous, pure white petunia that goes across the entire front of the chicken coop. I do adore this petunia because it is pure white, gives me height. It fills in around the other plants like the Rockin' Blue Suede Shoes Salvia. This is a great, nice, vigorous salvia that has those true blue flowers. The hummingbirds, the pollinators, they adore this plant, and it is only just getting started. It is going to be massive. And then look, y'all, look at my butterfly candy Buddleia. We were together when I pruned it because they looked half dead. They had a rough winter, but look at all of that beautiful foliage. They have bounced back magnificently well, and I am so incredibly happy with how they are doing. Then we have this incredible sunflower. If anything is struggling in this bed, it is the suncredibles. I'm not sure if it is not enough water because this is not on irrigation, but the other plants are thriving clearly, right? I mean, now these are 3 plants right here as far as the salvia goes, but even the petunias are doing really well. They definitely have found their roots and are really happy, but as you can see, the suncredibles they're on the struggle bus a little bit. So we're going to see. I do know that next year, Proven Winners is coming out with an improved version of suncredible. I have a couple. I'm going to add them to a different spot up here in the next week or so to see how they do. So it could be the gardener, or it could just be that the plant needs a little love. But everything here is just so fun. Using that mass color of white across the front and repeating that just makes a really big impact. We can see this white all the way from the house. And if you can look correctly through the trees of the woods, then you can see it there as well. So not only is this, the chicken coop acts as a garden interest piece, that hard structure, but it also just provides me that really fun opportunity to every year do something different. As far as the annuals go, I'll do grasses, I'll do coleus, I'll just change up all of the different plants that go in here, but definitely embracing that full sun, because also for the girls, the chicken girls, that they love going through and they think they're getting treats, bless their little hearts. So when certain plants will poke through, they'll peck at them and eat them. Everything is fine. It's not like they're consuming anything large, but it's really fun for them. And then when the sun starts to go down in the afternoon, these larger plants will give them some shade. I want to give you a quick little update too on this Calibrachoa. Look at this. This is the Superbelle's Magic Double Grapefruit. Y'all, this is such a beautiful Calibrachoa from Proven Winners. It is, this is the first year that they've had it out and available, and it's called the Magic Double Grapefruit because one, it is a double bloom, but magic because it changes colors. So on the same plant, depending on the age of the flower, you will get the pink, the yellow, the bicolor, and so it really is magic in the fact that it changes colors. Now, I know somebody is going to ask about where did I get this beautiful copper hanging basket from? Those come from H. Potter. So you can just go online. If I remember, I will try to link it. But H. Potter has these, and I actually have 2 more on the back porch, and I love them. They're nice and big. They hold a ton of soil, and clearly the plants absolutely love them. So this Superbelle's Double Magic Grapefruit is very happy and doing quite well here at the chicken coop. While I have spent a fair amount of time in the woodland garden and here planting the annuals in front of the chicken coop, one area that I really have spent very minimal time in is the hill that is directly in front of the chicken coop. Mimi and I were in here for one day. We did a little bit of pruning. We did some weeding, and I think we fertilized. I do not remember. And y'all, I have been so impressed with this garden. Again, no irrigation on these plants. And so they are coming into their own. Most of these shrubs have been in here they're going on into like their 4th year here. And so remember, the first year they sleep, keep them alive. The second year they creep, they're gonna give some growth and some flowers. The 3rd year and beyond, they leap. Their roots have gotten established in this gosh awful red clay hill. So there's a lot of drainage. Can be, especially in a drought, quite dry, but they are doing so well. So let's take a look. Just because I have to do it, y'all. I don't ever want you to think that my gardens are perfect and they always look pristine. They don't. And nobody's does unless they have a massive team that is always weeding. So just to make you feel better, there where Brenna is, there's quite a little selection of weeds that I need to get in here and take care of. But you know what? I'm not going to focus on the weeds. I am going to focus over here where the beauty is happening. The one thing there's a couple of things that are in bloom right now, but the first one is a spirea from Proven Winners. This is the double play Dolly. Is she not a cutie patootie? I mean, you've got this chartreuse green foliage, and then she is just coming in to flower with her raspberry colored blooms. I do know when Mimi and I were here, I did prune it because spireas bloom on new growth, and so you want to prune them every late winter. So design-wise, there are 3 of those dollies that kind of go through on the front of the border. I do not have a formal pathway here. I just kind of have made my own between where the annuals are and then the edge with the with like the dollies and then the tater tots. And so that's kind of what I want to maintain right there. So the double play dolly, they are doing great. And then Agastache, y'all. Now, Agastache is not in bloom right now. This is Blue Fortune. And while we have Blue Fortune, these plants actually came from my sweet friend Tina, because she knows what I love. And so she gave me some of the Blue Fortune. Agastache is a classic, beautiful, tall perennial, drought tolerant, and as its name suggests, will give us beautiful blue flowers. Pollinators go nuts over it. Absolutely crazy. And then I have got some tall phlox. So this is Dream Girl. And Dream Girl, she comes from our friends at Walter's Gardens and is just a beautiful phlox. Look at that. No powdery mildew. For me in the South, that is a problem. So these 3 are doing really well. Very happy with how Dream Girl Phlox is performing. And then alliums, y'all, the bunnies are about to do me in. We have got an entire community, shall we say, of bunnies, and they don't like alliums, so thank goodness they are leaving those alone. Echinaceas getting ready to bloom. Sometimes echinaceas for me can be a little rough. Maybe they stay for a couple of years and then they're out. These, oh my, as long as these rabbits will leave them alone, they are about to explode in color. This is the sombrero, my tag has stated. I want to say it's a sombrero orange. A beautiful, nice, bright, brilliant orange pollinators love. And then y'all, look at cute little tater tot. Tater tot I got as a quart and I've got 2 of them in here. Nice, slow growing evergreen, can handle the full sun. So if you need a nice petite evergreen shrub, would do great in a container, try tater tot. So it is a very soft plant. It is not tough and prickly at all. Love it. Have never pruned this one, but it is such a cute thing. And then kind of just repeating those. I have quince. This is the double take white. It has finished blooming. Nice early spring bloom. Double pure white flowers, just gorgeous. And then we repeat some more with some echinacea, and all of those plants just kind of repeat throughout. We'll move on down. But I have had some people asking about my El Nino Chatalpa. This is from Proven Winners. It is a comes from Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs, but really it is a tree. And so it is a multi-trunked tree. We planted this as a 1 gallon, and it was tiny, but my gosh, y'all, it is a fast grower. Does really well here. The only thing that I have had to battle is that the caterpillar. So every late summer, there is a caterpillar that comes through. It's the caterpillar of a moth, and it will literally completely defoliate this entire plant. I can be standing down at the garage, so you see the garage down there, and I'll look up and I'm like, why is my El Nino naked? It's because it's covered in thousands of gross caterpillars. So I did do a systemic treatment so that I will be able to keep my foliage throughout the entire year, and the caterpillars won't get it. But look, it has started to bloom. Here we are in mid-May in North Carolina, and you get these beautiful, they look like snapdragon flowers. Now, it's not completely covered yet, but we have got buds all over the plant. This is a fast grower. It blooms on new growth. So you can see where I had pruned it. Hopefully that camera's picking up so you can see the old tough stems, and you can see the new foliage on there. And so it is a prolific grower. Now, I did have one piece of a limb, right? So this trunk right here did not come back. So but I have new growth on it. It's just that this top part did not go ahead and come back. So I will trim it here, but everything else is doing well. From a design perspective, I love that what El Nino does here, because I have it centered in front, obviously, of 2, these are Nellie Stevens hollies. There's actually 3 of them up here, but that is centered between 2 of them, and it just gives such a statement piece. And then, I know it's hard to see, but when you're down there at the house, you will see El Nino because it is up on the hill. And y'all, she is just now starting to get growing for the season. So she's gonna put on some massive growth as the temperatures rise, and then just those beautiful pink flowers. Oh, it's gonna be lovely. Now, I did forget to highlight the smoke bush. I actually have 2 different kinds of smoke bushes up here. I love the dark color contrast because I have so much green. This is the Winecraft Black Smoke Bush. Not gonna lie, she struggled big time when I planted her. I mean, it was rough. I thought I was gonna lose it. I may or may not have lost one prior to this one, but we're not gonna talk about that. This one is nice and happy, and then having it here again beside that glossy green foliage of the Nellie Stevens holly, and then y'all, this is a fig tree to the left. This was a piece that came from my mama's fig tree, and that fig tree came from my grandmama's house, and yes, it produces fruit, and it is delicious, and it is clearly very happy. We call it figgy. So to have that Winecraft Black between figgy and then the Nellie Stevens, and then beyond that is Firelight Hydrangeas closer to the house. Such a nice design statement right there. Yeah, so everybody is really, when I say I have not watered this, I have not watered this. And that is where all of those years of work has come to fruition. It is paying off. It is happening. And one of my all-time favorite perennial hibiscus is watermelon ruffles. And watermelon ruffles is one of the very first ones to come out of dormancy. And she is here kind of directly in front of El Nino when you're looking at it from the house, between those two Nellie Stevens. And y'all, she's got buds. She sure does. Look at this overachiever perennial hibiscus giving me buds here at the middle of May. Such a great, beautiful, absolutely stunning plant. I love this hibiscus. It is going to be spectacular this year. And just do so well. I do like to be really honest and transparent about my garden, right? There are things that struggle immensely. There are times that I struggle. There are times when I kill plants. Y'all, if you haven't killed a plant yet, then you're not trying hard enough in your garden, because to garden, you're gonna kill plants. And so whenever I talk to new gardeners, they're like, I'm afraid I'm gonna kill it. I'm like, sugar, you're gonna kill it. Just accept that fact, so then when it happens, you're not devastated and you don't feel like a failure. Even professional gardeners, I don't care how many years of experience you have, you're still gonna kill plants. It's all right. Case in point, these hydrangeas. Dear heavens, when I tell you that I have put in for about 2 years the most TLC for these hydrangeas, because I'm like, by golly, we are going to have beautiful hydrangeas up here on the hill by the chicken coop. And they made me work for it. But alas, it seems that it has all paid off. So when we first planted these, they were all pufferfish. They were brand new. Pufferfish was brand new, and we added them. They were in full bloom. They were stunning. They were gorgeous. And so the one in the middle, in the back, it died. I mean, it died deader than dead. And so I was like, well, okay, we have a problem. So I have the two pufferfish on the left and the right, the original ones. But when I say I had to be out here watering them constantly for almost 2 years during the growing season, I was. And so what we did, I was like, well, okay, since the one in the center was, at least it was in the right spot that it died. Yes, I could have replaced it with another pufferfish, but I was like, well, let's have a different variety. So this is Pinky Winky Prime. So Pinky Winky Prime is still that beautiful panicle hydrangea. All of these are panicle hydrangeas up here in this full sun. And so it just gives me a different bloom, a little bit of different color, a little bit of a different texture, and it's fabulous. So the hydrangeas that are behind Pinky Winky, that hedge, those are firelights, and they have been here years. I mean, probably, I would say, maybe 10 years. And so they too, they are holding their own and doing really well. So everything has done well. Super happy with my phenomenal lavender. Look at that. She's about to bloom. She is just doing fabulous. She's lovely. The rabbits have left her alone. Cannot wait till she opens up in all of her glory. It is going to smell divine. And then last and certainly not least is this perennial geranium. Now y'all, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but we can't get it anymore. I want to say it's like New Hampshire purple. I will try to find the correct name for it, but I love this geranium. Of course, geraniums are perennial, more of a ground cover, low, has the richest purple, more delicate leaves on it. Such a great plant. You'll notice I also have more alliums back there to keep the daggum rabbits away, because this is where they love to hide out, is up in here. I hope you have found this informative and inspirational, and just, you know, a little bit of entertainment perhaps. But ultimately, I want you to remember that those mature gardens, yes, they take time to develop, right? But that is the joy of gardening. I think when we first start gardening, we think I've got to have massive color everywhere, right? Whether that's mostly coming from your annuals or your perennials, we think flower power, flower power. And while I clearly love some good flower power, I also enjoy gardens that will carry their own weight from those shrubs and those perennials. Y'all, there's not one annual here. None. And I'm telling you, it is going to be spectacular this summer. It already looks great, but it's only going to get better. So choosing those plants that can do the heavy lifting and be patient. Give yourself grace. Give your plants grace. Those hydrangeas right here, my gosh, I worked for it big time for, like I said, probably 2 years during those summers, just keeping the water on them. And now they are doing well because they have gotten nice and established. So giving yourself grace in the garden and doing it bit by bit, piece by piece. But that's why we do all of these gardens here at the house, is because I know that not everybody has a full sun garden on a hill that gets no water unless you water it. I know that some people love to have shrubs and trees. I know that some people want to have the annual flower power. I know that some people have dry shade. So this is why we are incredibly blessed, one, to live in North Carolina with a very long growing season, and our property offers these little nuggets of gardens where hopefully I can speak to your gardening situation. Not that you have to do the exact same type of plant. I don't want you to get hung up that you have to have this exact plant. It's more about design and technique and how to garden, because I'm in North Carolina, and if you're in Ohio, or if you're in Southern California, or you're in New Hampshire, or you're in Washington State, we all have very, very different climates, very different shrubs that will grow, bloom, and thrive where we are. So take the nugget of information and then find that right plant that will fulfill that little nugget. That's my goal for you. And as always, if you have not subscribed, we would love it if you would subscribe. That way you don't miss these 5 videos that we do each and every week. So today, Brenna and I are off to go fertilize. Speaking of annuals, they're a little bit of a diva because they like to have lots of fertilizer. So we try to do it once a week. Sometimes it turns into once every 2 weeks. There we go. So y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.